media source. The Raw Nerve will be starting after our network news.
From NPR News in Washington, I'm Windsor Johnston. President Obama has made official his nomination for the next head of the National Endowment for the Arts. As NPR's Netta Ulubi reports, Jane Chu brings both fundraising experience and a low profile to what's been a sensitive government position.
The NEA is one of the least well-funded and most scrutinized government agencies. It's still smarting from the so-called culture wars of the 1990s, when the agency's support of sexually graphic work infuriated some conservative groups. That resulted in its budget getting slashed. The president has been working to increase the NEA's budget, and his nominee raised over $400 million at her last job, running the Kaufman Center for the Performing Arts in Kansas City. At the NEA, she'll have a budget of about a third of that. Netta Ulubi, NPR News.
The Department of Energy says no contamination has been found at a nuclear waste site in New Mexico. NPR's Nathan Rott reports the findings come after high radiation levels were detected on Friday.
An air monitor found an unusually high number of radioactive particles at a low-grade nuclear waste site late Friday night. The radiation was detected in the facility's underground levels, and officials say no workers were underground at that time. The U.S. Department of Energy says there is no current threat to the environment or human health. It's not yet clear what caused the air monitors to go off, or if the alarm was even an actual leak. A team is expected to be sent underground to investigate this week. Nathan Rott, NPR News.
Anti-government demonstrators in Ukraine's capital, Kiev, have vacated City Hall after occupying it for 2.5 months. From Kiev, the BBC's David Stern reports they left after the government released protesters from jail as part of an amnesty deal.
Opposition Deputy Arsen Avakov, who supervised City Hall's evacuation, said activists had completely cleared out of the building and handed it over to representatives of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. Demonstrators occupied and set up a base of operations in Kiev City Hall more than 2 months ago, part of an anti-government protest movement that has gripped Ukraine since November. The protesters have also partially dismantled barricades on a central Kiev street to allow traffic through. The evacuation of the government buildings takes place as demonstrators are gathering in Kiev for yet another major rally.
The BBC's David Stern in Kiev. The bodies of 2 skiers who were part of a group of 7 that triggered an avalanche in Colorado yesterday have been found. Officials say 3 others suffered various injuries on Saturday when they were skiing on Star Mountain near Leadville. It was the 3rd deadly slide in the state in less than a week. This is NPR News in Washington. At the Winter Olympic Games in Sochi, the U.S. men's hockey team beat Slovenia today, winning 5-1. As NPR's Vicki Walton-James reports, that gives the U.S. an automatic spot in the quarterfinals.
The U.S. team took the lead early. Phil Kessel, who plays for the NHL's Toronto Maple Leafs, scored 2 of his 3 goals in the first 5 minutes. Ryan McDonough of the New York Rangers scored next to put the U.S. up 4-0. David Backes of the St. Louis Blues scored the final goal. Goalie Ryan Miller has made 17 saves in Sochi competition and was close to a shutout, but Slovenia scored its only goal with 17 seconds left in the game. Vicki Walton-James, NPR News, Sochi.
Former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney says the International Olympic Committee should limit the amount of money it spends on the Games. His comments come in the wake of the Sochi Olympics, which are estimated to have cost more than $50 billion. Romney, who also headed the Salt Lake Organizing Committee for the 2002 Winter Olympics, told NBC's Meet the Press today that the Games could be successful for much less money.
To take money from some people so that politicians can be puffed up and be shown around the world, I think, is something which is very distasteful at a time when there's so much poverty and so much need.
However, Romney praised Russian authorities for the stepped-up security measures that have been taken throughout the Games. He says there's no such thing as a 100% guarantee, but says at this stage people feel fairly comfortable that the Games will be safe. I'm Windsor Johnston, NPR News in Washington.
Hi, this is Stephen Gardner from the Kitsap Sun. There are 3 things we try to do on the Kitsap Caucus blog. Give you more about the story that didn't fit in the regular piece. Give you the story behind the story. We also try to draw attention to other news you might have missed. And sometimes, I like to poke fun at Port Orchard. Read the Kitsap Caucus blog at thekitsapsun.com.
Hey, St. Paul, the voice of reason here. Wanted to send a quick shout out to our friends at Pacific Northwest Artisans. They're a custom concrete and design fabrication company. They can do all of your concrete needs. They can do pathways, walkways, driveways, you name it. You need a new foundation, you're going to do an add-on, give them a call, 731-9812 or 649-0987. Again, that's 731-9812 or 649-0987. Pacific Northwest Artisans, all of your concrete needs.
Make a difference in your community and volunteer at Kitsap Humane Society. We have opportunities for everyone and need help in all areas of the shelter. You can clean, feed, and help socialize animals, or answer phones, greet customers, and help run special events and fundraisers. KHS volunteers also lead programs including our foster program, canine training, and animal-assisted therapy. If you are interested in volunteering at Kitsap Humane Society, visit our website at kitsap-humane.org.
I'm Elaine Terso with Elaine Terso Photography. I've partnered with Ish Vintage Clothing, the Oxford Suites, and Parties by a Perfect Place to create our unique boudoir, glam, and pinup parties, which is perfect for a girls' night out or bachelorette parties. You choose your theme, get your hair and makeup done, play dress up for the evening, and then receive an accordion booklet of your photos, plus an 8x10 of your favorite photo. For parties or 7 or more, the hostess is free. For more information about our unique parties, visit my website, ElaineTersophotography.com.
Bremerton Bar and Grill is your new neighborhood bar and grill. At Bremerton Bar and Grill, they're an American-style, family-friendly restaurant that offers spectacular outdoor dining, happy hours twice a day, 18 draft beers, award-winning menus, and fast, friendly service. Need space for a private party? Reserve the Brad Johnson private dining room and dine in a real bank vault. Bremerton Bar and Grill, 190 Pacific Avenue, right across the street from the ferry terminal in downtown Bremerton.
Brothers Power Sports has been a locally owned family business in Bremerton since 1949. From new and pre-owned motorcycles, ATVs, scooters, boats, and watercraft, to parts and service and apparel. Brothers Power Sports is committed to being your source for all your motorsports needs, and they're a proud sponsor of the Habitat for Humanity of Kitsap County. Brothers Power Sports, 5205 1st Street in Bremerton, and online at brotherspowersports.com. Stop in and feel the difference at Brothers Power Sports in Bremerton.
And welcome to Edge Media Source, folks, and another edition of The Raw Nerve, featuring your host, Susan C. You give us a call at 253-617-1440. Now we go on to your host. Here is Susan C. You're live.
And thank you, Dennis. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Good afternoon. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Hope y'all having a great one. Well, it's right after Valentine's Day. Hope y'all had a good one. We've had a little break here. Because 2 Sundays ago was, of course, the Super Bowl.
Yes, and you had to go nuts because the Seahawks won.
I did. It was a really amazing. Everyone who knows me is just cracked up to no end because I got swept up in it. And I'm the person who, I will fess up. I'm the person who always says that sports gives a damn.
Swept up is an understatement.
Swept up over the dam, down the causeway. It was just ridiculous. I held my first ever Super Bowl party, and it was amazing. And I'll tell you, for those people, and I heard a lot of them come back and say, well, it wasn't nearly as good as it would have been if it hadn't been such a rout, which it was. At one point, I was really hoping we'd just kind of skunk them and send them off crying. But I got to tell you, from someone who has not followed football and things like this in the past, watching one team absolutely dominate the other team was pretty flippin' exciting.
It was just unexpected for me.
It was.
I did not expect. I figured if the Seahawks were going to win, it was going to be, by 3 points, 7 points, but there was going to be points on the board. And Denver has shown the ability all season to put up 45, 50 points a game like it's nothing. And, that didn't happen.
I was actually, somebody asked me about it, and I said that I really thought we were going to win, but I thought we were going to win by like 14 points.
That it was going to be more of a game.
2 touchdowns. I thought we were going to win by 2 touchdowns. And didn't happen. No, but didn't give them that.
No. Well, I watched highlights of the game with the players on the field that were mic'd up.
Yeah.
And that was very interesting to see what I saw, because there was a difference in the way each team was from the beginning of the game to the end.
Did Peyton Manning cry?
No, but there was something. I think he was honestly. I would say he seemed intimidated.
Really?
By these young players or something, because it started right out of the gate with that snap that went over his head.
Right.
What happened there was the 12th man must have been in effect because nobody on the line could hear him. They couldn't hear him, so
apparently couldn't see him either.
He stepped forward. The center snapped the ball. A center in football is supposed to just know where the quarterback is.
Right.
Like that, and not look. You got to be looking at the guy in front of you, or else you're going to get pancake. Trust me, I was that for a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know if he was intimidated. And all joking aside, Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos, they're very, very good at what they do. I thought it was amusing because my neighbors behind me for the last month and a half have been flying a Broncos flag on their flagpole.
Mm-hmm.
And I really did cross my mind after the game to go over and knock on the door and offer sympathies. But my husband said that might not be the most neighborly thing to do. But it was amusing.
We're going to have to start calling you Richard Sherman.
I'll tell you, for my first induction to Seahawks Mania, if you will, it was amazing. It was a fun ride, and I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for a lot of fun. That just really had a blast.
Yeah, we'll see if you're still a sports fan next season.
We'll see. Well, it depends how they do. I'm strictly a fair weather fan. I admit it. I'm a fair weather fan.
Oh.
You suck, forget you. Yeah. You do good, I'm there for you. You bet. I'll admit it. But sports is just a funny thing. Now, speaking of sports, you been following the Olympics?
Not as closely as I should.
Yeah.
Or as I normally would, is because other people in my house, like the person that I sleep next to, she's like, I don't care about no damn Olympics.
Right, yeah.
I'm like, come on. The Jamaicans still have a bobsled team. It's got to be cool.
I love the fact that the Jamaicans have a bobsled team. I love that so much, I can't tell you.
Did you watch the opening ceremonies at all?
No, I didn't get a chance to. I wanted to, but I'm going to catch the closing ones come heck or high water.
I did the DVR thing.
Yeah.
And was watching through. I just wanted to see certain nations come through. And
I saw part of it when they come through.
Yeah.
And we had like 250 athletes.
Yeah, and then poor little Jamaica comes out and there's 4.
There were a couple of countries had 1.
Yeah.
And it came out the one guy or the gal carrying their flag.
Yep.
And I'm like...
And their entourage of 3 people. And
and I'm like, I want the people in the stands to go nuts for these people.
Yeah.
You know? They work just as hard to get there. Mm-hmm. They're at the pinnacle of their sport as well.
Yeah.
Maybe their country only has 1 person competing in this, but I want the stands to go insane. I want these 1 athletes walking by themselves to know that the entire world recognizes what you have done to get here.
Yep.
That's it.
And I thought it was funny when Jamaica did come out, and they're only...
I didn't see Jamaica.
In the 2-man event this year. But the announcer on TV, he said, oh, yes, Cool Runnings, it's back.
Did he really? Oh, funny.
Yes,
funny.
I love that movie.
I was watching that, and they've got the Russian gal, the model that comes out with each of them, and she had this thing around
that
her.
They carried, that was
just like a helix sort of a thing, and it had the name of the country and I guess in Russian and in English, and it's very weird, very weird.
Yeah, that was goofy.
But I'm waiting to see the closing ceremony. Is supposed to be amazing, and this is $50 billion. This is Vladimir Putin's big gamble.
Wow.
He is really putting it out there. And what really amazes me, and I got to put it out there, I got to tell you, Russia found out in 2007 that they won the 2014 Winter Olympics hosting site. Okay, that was, for those of you who don't count higher than 5, that was 14 years ago, or 7 years ago. Hell, I gotta get it right too. 7 years ago. Okay. In 7 years, Russia has not been able to complete housing for the athletes and housing for the guests that are coming there, the tourists and whatnot that they're hoping to draw in. That's why they do this. That has, I don't know, working doors, working water. Some rooms didn't have water. Other rooms, the hotel came up and said, you have water, do not put it on your face, there are bad stuff in it. What do you mean there are bad stuff in it? There are bad stuff in it.
Don't put it on your face?
Don't put it on your face.
Oh,
And I guess it was a funny color too, kind of an orangey, yellowy, weird West Virginia type water.
Lovely.
Yeah. And I'm like, they've had 7 years. And the irony of this, the really irony of this was a huge, huge project for Vladimir Putin. Putin has got a reputation of being sort of the cowboy, the hard nose, the ultra conservative, hardline, old school Russian, like from the movies. Okay, he's trying to put on a softer, gentler Putin for the games because he wants to. He says that they're getting the Olympics in the first place is an acknowledgement of Russia's growing capabilities, first and foremost in the economic and social spheres. The ongoing games meant to celebrate a new re-emerging Russia are now testing these capabilities, sparking heavy criticism as the country faces new troubles domestically and abroad. No kidding. Now, for Putin, the games in their estimated $50 billion price tag, the most expensive Olympics ever, and that's saying a ton. They've turned into a risky bet on an old resort town. Sochi isn't like this good-sized town that was on the Baltic Sea and let's hold the Olympics here and blah, blah, blah. No, it was this tiny little resort town.
Right.
It's a little seaside resort town. It was known mostly for their spas. And I got to tell you, it was a tourist destination. They had sanatoriums for people who had health issues. And the beaches were packed. I guess it has lovely beaches in the summertime. But I got to tell you, it was this very small little community. And Russia went in, and I'm gathering they must have gone in and just bought up a ton of land to build all this on. And I'm thinking, had they bought property that was already there, some infrastructure, some buildings, some whatnot, that they could expand and renovate, it would have been a lot faster, it would have been a lot cheaper than having to raise to the ground whatever was there and then build from the ground up. And apparently it's not working. I mean, we all heard about the bobsledder that got stuck in his room, literally in his bathroom. He got stuck in his bathroom. The door would not open. Now, he says that he had to rely on his sled training, push training for the luge, to basically bust through his door. He busted his door down to get out of his bathroom. How embarrassing is that? But I saw tweets from Western reporters saying things like, I will trade a light bulb for a doorknob. No joke. And the tweet said, no joke. I need, a working doorknob. I have a light bulb, an extra one. I'll trade you. Yeah. Just trying to get their rooms, their venues and everything working properly. I think it's pretty sad. And then what really cracks me up, now Vladimir Putin, like I said, is trying to put on the softer, gentler side, show this, the warm side of Russia. Mother Russia can be a sweet thing, apparently. He's trying to put forth this image to the world of Russia. And I'll tell you, if you're not at least 40 or over, you don't remember when the Soviet Union basically crumbled. They were a world power. They were huge. We had the CIA. They had the Kremlin. We spied on each other. It was known. And their economy just basically collapsed. And it was really, really terrible. Russia is an enormous country. A lot of people in this country. And their economy basically collapsed. Now, ours did, not to the degree at all that theirs did. But we had our housing bubble that popped and all. And that was sort of a small taste of what the Russian people and economy was going through when they took a nosedive. They bit it big time. And it was to the point that Russia was selling their Navy ships. They were selling their submarines. They were selling, a lot of people say, they were selling their nuclear weapons in some arenas to make money to run the government, to run the country. That's how bad it was. They had a going out of business sale, basically. And it was pretty sad. It was really pretty sad. But I got to tell you, to now come along and try to project this image of being modern Russia, being the 21st century Russia, being the caring, considerate Russia, but we don't like gays. I'm sorry, this doesn't quite compute in my book. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, right before the Olympics opened, Russia passed laws. They passed laws last year, the end of last year, that basically said that the homosexual lifestyle is banned from Russia so that they don't contaminate their children. Basically. Really. Wow. Softer, kinder Russia. I'm thinking, what? Before this, did they just disappear you in the middle of the night and you'd go to a gulag? Wake up, Mother Russia? Yeah. Well, in Sochi, the mayor of the Russian city that's hosting the Winter Olympics says that homosexuality was not accepted in his Caucasus region, but that gay visitors would be welcome at the games if they respected Russian laws. That's big of them. Softer, gentler Russia. Yeah. Now, Russia stands on gay rights, including laws introduced last year to ban the dissemination of gay propaganda. I have no idea what gay propaganda would possibly be. Flyers? I don't know. Passing out condoms?
That's the beauty of Russia. They are big on the whole propaganda.
Yeah, everything's propaganda.
That was behind the whole Cold War.
Yeah.
Both propaganda.
But the thing about it is, when you use the word propaganda, that is like, it covers a multitude of actions and beliefs and whatnot, that they can use it and say, oh, that's propaganda, because it's so vague. Yeah. So, this whole propaganda, gay propaganda bull cruddy, really drew strong criticism from Western states and gay rights groups, no kidding, in the run-up to the games. And I tell you, in remarks to be broadcast, Mayor Anatoly Pekhamov told the BBC's Panorama program, excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh, construction dust. But he told BBC's Panorama program, we just say it's your business. It's your life. But it's not accepted here in the Caucasus region where we live. We do not have them in our city. The mayor of Sochi said, we do not have them in our city. Them.
Yeah.
Not us. Them. Really. Welcome to the 21st century. I really hate to break it to you. They're not them anymore. Yeah. Now, Putin's defended his country's laws, saying that Russia was not going after gay people. Right. Everyone who believes that, raise your right hand. I thought so. And Pekhamov said that gay people would be welcome at the Olympics, which began on February 7th. He said, our hospitality will be extended to everyone who respects the laws of Russian Federation and does not impose their habits on others. Now, Sochi is home to a few gay clubs, believe it or not. But according to members of the city's lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community, the scene is on the decline. Well, that's such a shock that it would be on the decline, considering the fact that the country has basically outlawed your lifestyle. What are you going to do? The sound you just heard was millions of closet doors slamming shut. Firmly. How sad. How sad. I'll tell you one thing. I'm not a big yogurt eater. I'm not a big yogurt fan. To me, yogurt tastes like something that went bad and needs to be thrown away now. But a lot of people do like it. And I got to tell you, if I ate yogurt, and if I was going to try to start liking it again, I'd go with Chobani. The only yogurt on the face of the planet I would ever buy would be Chobani. I swear to God. Reason being, the Greek yogurt maker Chobani released a Twitter image of stacked yogurt cups. And each yogurt cup was a different color representing a rainbow. And yes, this was directly flying in the face of Russia's anti-gay laws that they passed. Chobani is a huge Olympics team and Team USA supporter. Yes. They send yogurt to the athletes to eat because they eat yogurt's good for you. The athletes eat it, keeps them healthy. Yeah. They said that their comment was that it's disappointing that in 2014 this is still an issue. This is according to Chobani CEO Hamdi Ulukaya. This is what he told the Associated Press. He said, "We're against all laws and practices that discriminate in any way, whether it be where you come from or who you love. For that reason, we oppose Russia's anti-LGBT law." Now, the U.S. Olympic host, Sochi, Russia, are currently in the midst of a trading spat involving dairy product imports, notably Chobani yogurt. Russia authorities refused to allow 5,000 cups of Chobani yogurt intended to feed U.S. Olympians into Sochi. The yogurt currently is stranded in New Jersey. This is according to the Washington Post. Now, the Russian authorities should get past yet, according to New York Senator Chuck Schumer. He said, let this prime sponsor, the U.S. Olympic team, deliver the protein-packed food to our athletes. Russia has held a 3-year embargo on U.S. dairy products and is requesting a food safety certificate for the yogurt to be permitted into the country. However, according to Schumer, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has recently gotten involved in this whole argument with the Russian government on behalf of Chobani, and has sent the Russian government a letter urging approval of the food safety certificate. So Russia doesn't want to let Chobani in because basically I'm pretty sure it's because Chobani has come out and said we don't support Russia's views, outlooks, or opinions. What a shock. I say good for them. Did you see that image on Facebook?
No.
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook, and it was amazing because they just stacked up a bunch of empty cups, and each one was a different color of the rainbow, and it was pretty. I liked it. I thought that was amazing. Subtle, but gets the point across without being rude.
Yeah.
No, I guess they didn't like that. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Why?
I know, wah.
They can.
But I'll tell you, the one thing I really, really like watching in the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, the Summer Olympics is gymnastics, and the Winter Olympics, it's figure skating. I love to watch a figure skate, and it's the pairs, the individuals, the team, the dance, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, this has been a painful Olympics to watch because there's been a lot of stumbles and falls from people who should not be making stumbles and falls. At this point, they shouldn't. Not to the degree that they are. It's so common. And it's pretty sad when somebody can fall twice in the program and still win a bronze. And I'm like, how did they meddle with that? And we're not any better, I'll tell you. I haven't seen USA in the top 3 slots for a gymnastics event yet. But the Russians are doing well. And the Russians are really proud. You know, that they're bringing... It used to be for like 12 straight Olympics, bronze and silver always went to the Russians, and then they couldn't buy one on the open market. It was terrible. So they're happy now. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, more of what's going on in our area. You're going to love it. See you in a sec.
Hi, this is Stephen Gardner from the Kitsap Sun. There are 3 things we try to do on the Kitsap Caucus blog. Give you more about the story that didn't fit in the regular piece. Give you the story behind the story. We also try to draw attention to other news you might have missed. And sometimes, I like to poke fun at Port Orchard. Read the Kitsap Caucus blog at thekitsapsun.com.
Hey, St. Paul, the voice of reason here. Wanted to send a quick shout out to our friends at Pacific Northwest Artisans. They're a custom concrete and design fabrication company. They can do all of your concrete needs. They can do pathways, walkways, driveways, you name it. You need a new foundation, you're going to do an add-on, give them a call, 731-9812 or 649-0987. Again, that's 731-9812 or 649-0987. Pacific Northwest Artisans, all of your concrete needs.
Make a difference in your community and volunteer at Kitsap Humane Society. We have opportunities for everyone and need help in all areas of the shelter. You can clean, feed, and help socialize animals or answer phones, greet customers, and help run special events and fundraisers. KHS volunteers also lead programs including our foster program, canine training, and animal-assisted therapy. If you are interested in volunteering at Kitsap Humane Society, visit our website at kitsap-humane.org.
I'm Elaine Terso with Elaine Terso Photography. I've partnered with Ish Vintage Clothing, the Oxford Suites, and Parties by a Perfect Place to create our unique boudoir, glam, and pinup parties, which is perfect for a girls' night out or bachelorette parties. You choose your theme, get your hair and makeup done, play dress up for the evening, and then receive an accordion booklet of your photos, plus an 8x10 of your favorite photo. For parties for 7 or more, the hostess is free. For more information about our unique parties, visit my website, ElaineTersophotography.com.
Bremerton Bar and Grill is your new neighborhood bar and grill. At Bremerton Bar and Grill, they're an American-style, family-friendly restaurant that offers spectacular outdoor dining, happy hours twice a day, 18 draft beers, award-winning menus, and fast, friendly service. Need space for a private party? Reserve the Brad Johnson private dining room and dine in a real bank vault. Bremerton Bar and Grill, 190 Pacific Avenue, right across the street from the ferry terminal in downtown Bremerton.
Brothers Power Sports has been a locally owned family business in Bremerton since 1949. From new and pre-owned motorcycles, ATVs, scooters, boats, and watercraft, to parts and service and apparel. Brothers Power Sports is committed to being your source for all your motorsports needs, and they're a proud sponsor of the Habitat for Humanity of Kitsap County. Brothers Power Sports, 5205 First Street in Bremerton, and online at brotherspowersports.com. Stop in and feel the difference at Brothers Power Sports in Bremerton.
And welcome back to the Runner on Edge Media Source. Feeling very patriotic after all that Olympic stuff, so. And plus, I love my Rocky movies. But anyhow, you still call in 253-617-1440. Now back to your host, Susan C.
Thank you, Dennis. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you did. Forgot to mention earlier that joining me on the other side of the glass are the dulcet tones of Bad Boy Dennis D. How you doing, darling?
Doing just wonderful. Yeah, I was wondering what happened to that, you know.
Did you have a nice Valentine's weekend?
I did. It was a nice little cozy thing.
Treat your lady right. Yes.
I did. Well, we're still going out for dinner a little later this week because we had too much going on. So.
Well, that happens too. But as long as it's not forgotten, that's all that matters.
See, I had to admire you and your husband because you guys like pull off date night regular.
We try.
Yeah, I mean, but it's still more regular than a lot of people I know, and I'm like...
We try. Well, we've been married for coming up on 26 years, so we have to work a little harder at it than most people. We've been at this for so long.
Yeah, normally by
Yeah.
that time in a relationship, people are like, okay, I've already impressed her. It's cool.
Nah. He's a sweetie. And you know what I did for Valentine's Day? When you've been married 26 years, forget the flowers, forget the candy and all that stuff. I bought him a bed.
You bought him
I bought him a bed. I bought a mattress. I tell you, this is my beef, my big beef right now. A little over a year ago, we went looking for a mattress because we had one of the ones with the air bladders in it, and the one on his side popped a hole in it, and we had to get a new one. So we went looking for a new mattress, and we found this store where this salesman was selling these mattresses, and the brand is called iComfort, Little iComfort, and we ended up with a mattress. It's about this thick. It is memory foam that's infused with gel. It's high-end, high-tech, cutting-edge sleep technology.
Made by NASA.
Pretty much, yeah. I had price tag with it, too, I'll tell you. I could have knocked me over with a feather. I couldn't believe they want like $2,000, $3,000 for a mattress nowadays. But they do. Yes, they do. And we bought this because it was supposed to be so good. We both have a tendency to wake up with backaches and hip aches and whatever, And it's like, oh, this is so good for that. You're going to love it, blah, 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 blah. Get the thing home. It is the most horrible. We both hate that mattress so bad we can't tell you how much we hate that mattress. For one thing, it's hard. It feels soft and pushy when you push on it, but you try to lay on it, and it's hard. And it hurts.
With no give, huh?
It has no give. Kids would have no fun jumping on it because there's no bounce. There's no bounce. You lay on it, and it's like the bed comes up and grabs you. You can't even roll over in this bed without literally pretty much getting out of bed to do it and then laying back down again. You can't just roll over.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
I mean, you don't have to worry about waking up your other half, I guess.
Oh no, I could hold war games on my side of the bed, and hubby will never know it. He would never know what was going on. But I got to tell you, he hates it. I hate it. We've hated it for a year now. So for Valentine's Day, I took him in and I got him one of the Sleep Number beds.
Oh wow!
And he can blow his side up to what he wants, and I can blow mine soft like I like mine, and we'll be happy. And I told the guy, I said, well, we've gotten the mess we're in now because we had one of these and the bag popped on his side. And he's like, well, there's a whole new technology now that guaranteed will never happen. So I'm like, okay,
really?
As long as it's guaranteed. And I'll tell you, it's the most comfortable bed we've ever had. So we just went back to what we knew worked.
There you go.
That's what you do for Valentine's Day when you've been married for almost 6 years.
And what you do with the old mattress?
I'm going to give that to one of my daughters. She needs it.
Children are always needy.
Well, I have 3 of them.
So are board operators and producers.
I know. I know.
No, actually, we're pretty good in the mattress department at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I told my daughter, I said, you can have it because, for one thing, the kids won't jump on it because it's no fun.
No, it's not fun if it don't bounce.
She has a bad back, so it might help. The firmness would help her. But I don't know. I just want to let you know that, and I nobody's paying me any money to say anything, but I'm just saying I have fantasies of walking into the store and telling that iComfort salesman how much I hate his mattress. I mean, I'm more adult than that than to do that. So I'd rather go on the internet and do it. Yeah, it's much better. But I got to tell you, it ain't fun. And I'll tell you, you've got to sleep. It is so important to get a good night's sleep. And I don't understand why they charge so much for these mattresses. And I'm sure it's because they come back and say, well, because people pay it. Of course they do. You have to have a bed.
Yeah.
You have to have a bed. So, of course, people will pay it if that's what you make them pay for them.
But they are expensive.
They're stupid expensive.
Ridiculous.
Stupid expensive. Oh, it's just idiotic. I'm buying a mattress, something to lay on for, a few hours every night and not a car.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Y'all like the new look? Our new look? No more spinning planets in the background?
Yeah, no more pink and purple flames. Dark.
Yep. They went with the collage look. So we
it's
have
busy, but
it's an artistic collage.
Your shirt of choice tonight seems to blend in.
I can't win with whatever I
with
wear.
the busyness.
Yeah, whatever I wear, I just can't win. But at least now I can wear a great shirt.
You can wear whatever color you want. You don't got to worry about being see-through at that point.
That's right. It's amazing. Hope y'all like it. It's different. We'll see how this works out. Now, if you follow the show, you know that I'm not a big fan of Boeing right now. People really tick me off. As far as I'm concerned, Boeing committed legal extortion in the state of Washington against Washington civilians, and I'll tell you, or citizens, and our governor helped them. Our governor encouraged it. Yes, he did. And that irritates me a lot. A lot. Really ticked. Boeing, as you know, just had a thing where the machinists had to vote to change their pension. They're transitioning away from the traditional pension plan. They had to vote to accept that, or Boeing said they were going to take their marbles and go play in another state. Take the thousands of jobs, the economic hit for the communities and the state and all this stuff, and just take their marbles and go play somewhere else. They're going to go sit in the corner and eat worms. Yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, it was extortion. It was strong-arm extortion. And now the machinists had to vote to transition away from their pensions. And now what are they going to do? Yeah. Really sucks. And now, Boeing, bless their little hearts, Boeing lobbyists, they threw a thank you party for Washington state lawmakers who helped provide the company with billions in tax breaks. Billions. We're talking $8.7 billion in tax breaks. That's what the state gave them to stay here. In addition to the machinists being forced to take a lousy pension setup. Yeah. An invitation associated by the Associated Press showed Boeing executives hosted a reception for lawmakers last Tuesday, I believe it was, at a house across the street from the Capitol campus in Olympia. The invitation to lawmakers says the event will thank you for your efforts to land the 777X in Washington State. Last year, the legislature approved an extension of Boeing tax breaks in a deal worth an estimated $8.7 billion. Lawmakers swiftly approved the idea in a special session, which puts pressure on union workers to accept a contract that transitioned them away from pension plans. Now, Democratic Republican Reuben Carlisle, who helped guide the tax package through the legislature, said he declined to attend Boeing's events late last year, such as a dinner with company officials when lawmakers were considering the deal. He said those early events didn't feel appropriate, but he had no objections to the lawmakers attending Boeing's reception this week now that time has passed. So, Boeing throws this great party. Thank you, guys. Thanks for making it all come true. Boeing is posting record profits. They are performing record production. Right now, Boeing is rolling out like 40 to 42 planes a month. That's more than one a day.
Yeah, that's a lot of aircraft.
That's a lot of airplanes. Yes, they are. That's a lot. And
they
have
don't
plans.
just throw them things together.
Oh, no, they do not. No, they do not. And they have plans in place to increase that number because of demands. They have had record sales. Airlines all over the country, private corporations, governments, airlines all want to buy this new airplane. Okay. Boeing is making money hand over fist like they have never made money before. But now they have to do it on the backs of the workers. Nice move. Nice move. It just makes me so angry I could just spit. It shouldn't be legal. It should not be legal. I mean, their attitude is like the union workers coming up saying, but I've worked here for 32 years. And I'll tell you, if you've worked for Boeing for 32 years, it's a miracle because they lay people off right and left. They lay people off and then hire new people in at a lower salary. They lay off people making a lot of money because they've been there a long time, and then hiring people making less money because they're new. Yeah. It's the way it works. So if you've been there long enough to retire from Boeing, you've earned it. Oh, my Lord, have you earned it. And now they're going to take away the reasonable, responsible pension package these people worked for. No. That is, I'm sorry, that's bullcrap on the highest level.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
That's like Dom Perignon of bullcrap. It really is.
The Don Perignon of bullcrap, huh?
Yeah. Upper echelon, top shelf, yeah. And it's just, I think these people should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. It's like, the workers are like, but we have to have a pension to live on after we retire. And the Boeing company, the corporation, is coming back saying, well, you think you got problems. We got to haul these heavy money bags to the bank every day. Yeah. We got bigger problems than you do.
No, they don't have to haul them. They have people that haul that for them.
Figuratively speaking. Figuratively speaking, yes. But it just really, truly makes me so angry I could just spit. And I'll tell you, someday, the movers and shakers that are responsible for this sort of behavior, this sort of activity, and thinking that it is, I don't know, somehow okay, then that's going to be an interesting conversation when they have to explain it to the man upstairs. Yeah, we bulldozed over people. We ran roughshod over them. We took away their, security. But we had to make money. We had to make more money than what we were making. I've said it a million times. This country is based on capitalism, which is great. It's made this country strong. It's made this country great. I'm all for capitalism. But I can remember a day, and I'm not that freaking old, okay? I'm not a dinosaur here. I can remember when it was acceptable to make a decent profit. Shareholders were happy with a decent profit. Corporations were happy to make a decent profit. But now, that's not good enough. Now it has to be an indecent profit over the broken, bleeding bones of the workers or whoever it requires to make that profit.
Oh, yeah, well, it's never enough.
No, it's never enough. And that's just to the point of being stupid.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, there should be employee abuse laws. You've got child abuse, elder abuse, all these abuse laws. There should be employee abuse laws.
And I mean, it's not just a Boeing thing. You watch it happen with the gas companies.
Oh, I know.
Here,
banks.
Let's raise the gas prices for no other reason than pad our pockets.
Yep. Banks did the same thing. It's one of the reasons why we had the bubble that burst on us. And they didn't care because the only people going to suffer when the bubble burst was the little guy getting kicked out of their home. That's all. Yeah. So this sort of thing is as far as I'm concerned, it's absolutely unconscionable.
It's sad to see, the big companies do that just because they can.
Yeah,
and when an area relies on that company for its own economic stimulation and take care of the people that are there.
Oh yeah.
We're just going to destroy the area. We'll go somewhere else that's going to. After you've been there so long.
Yeah. And it's almost a hollow threat because they don't really want to leave because it would to move would cut into their profit margin for one thing because it's extremely expensive.
Yeah.
But they're going to hold your feet to the fire until you give in and say, "Uncle."
They're playing evil pool.
It is. It's evil pool.
Give us what we want, or we're going to hurt all of your people.
Yeah, it's kind of like the mob.
It is, or
go over there and lean on those union workers.
Anything, give me what I want, or all the hostages die.
Yeah, we're stirring the concrete for the galoshes now, the concrete overshoes.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things that absolutely spins me up till I can't see straight. I'm a firm believer. Like I said, capitalism made this country. Capitalism is a wonderful thing. I don't care what Russia and the other socialist countries thought. It is a wonderful thing if it's done right. We used to do it right. We're getting away from doing it right now. That's wrong. If it isn't right, then it's wrong. Think about it. It's not rocket science. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. One thing that really, really, really got me spun up this week, you might have seen this. Afghan President Hamid Karzai said his government's release of 65 prisoners described by the United States as dangerous is, quote, of no concern to Washington, unquote. Yeah. As the United States and NATO reacted strongly against Thursday's release of Bagram prison detainees, they say our Taliban militants, the Washington Post reported Karzai, whose relations with Washington already are deeply strained, was quoted by a spokesman as saying from Ankara, I hope that the United States will stop harassing Afghanistan's procedures and judicial authority. Afghanistan is a sovereign country. If Afghanistan judiciary authorities decide to release prisoners, it is of no concern to the U.S. The Afghan leader was in Turkey for a summit meeting. Many of us in this country would beg to differ with this man. The prisoner release came despite repeated warnings from the United States that the insurgents would likely rejoin the Taliban operations. Excuse me. The U.S. military in Afghanistan had warned that the freed detainees were, quote, directly linked, unquote, to operations in which 32 American or coalition service members were killed or wounded, and 23 Afghan security personnel or civilians died or were injured, according to CNN reports. In a statement after the prisoner release, the U.S. Embassy in Kabul called the action deeply regrettable and warned the Afghan government that bears responsibility for the results of its decisions. Now, prior to the release, U.S. forces had also warned the prisoners are dangerous individuals and that the United States on several occasions provided extensive information and evidence on each of them to Afghan authorities. However, Afghan officials said they had not received any satisfactory evidence to link the prisoners to insurgency. If we're saying that we, on several occasions, provided extensive information and evidence on each of them, you can bet that we provided extensive information and evidence on each of them. And for them to say that it wasn't satisfactory, was just they didn't want it to be. Period. Now, let's see. The 65 prisoners were from a group of 88 that the Afghan government had decided to release. Afghan authorities have already released hundreds of prisoners since the Bagram prison near Kabul, once U.S. prison was handed over to Afghanistan in March of last year. So this was our prison. Our soldiers went out, our soldiers, operatives, and agents went out, hunted these men down, these Taliban masterminds, hunted them down, caught them, imprisoned them. They happened to be in the prison we turned over to Afghanistan as a show of good faith when we were pulling out. And now they sit there and say, oh, we're going to let them go. They're nice. They're just misunderstood. They're nice people. Yeah. U.S. authorities have said that some of these nice people have already rejoined the fight. They are Taliban. These are the people. Some of these people were caught with the bomb, their thumb on the trigger for the bomb. You can't get more red-handed. And yet Afghan says, well, there's not enough evidence to say these are bad people. Yeah, I'm sure they were just sitting in there, because they jaywalked or were litter bugs.
Right.
Yeah. We're over there. We have so much extra time on our hands to round up people that are terrible people like that. Yes.
Let that be the reason.
I'll tell you, it's just mind-boggling to me. The Washington Post said that several U.S. lawmakers already concerned about Karzai's intransigence are now more upset after the prison release. Duh. The report said that Senator Lindsey O. Graham, a Republican of South Carolina, had earlier threatened to seek the suspension of all aid to the Afghan government if the prisoners were released. All aid. President Karzai, in my view, is single-handedly destroying this relationship of Afghanistan-U.S. between us, and said, I look forward to developing a bipartisan plan to push back as hard as possible. I hope they do. I really do. I'm tired. I don't know about you, but I am tired of having allies that stab us in the back. I'm tired of having allies that we send money to in foreign aid who side with the Taliban in killing our people. And I'm not just talking about Afghanistan. I'm talking Pakistan. How in the world is Pakistan still our ally? I cannot imagine how the military comes back and says, Pakistan is our ally. Really? Really?
Yeah, okay.
The main training places for the Taliban are in Pakistan.
Yeah.
They hid Osama bin Laden for 2 years after 9/11. That was his main place to hide, was in Pakistan. You cannot tell me the Pakistan government did not know such a high-profile citizen was living in amongst them. Excuse me. We're talking a country where it's still, it's okay for a group of men to get around and stone a little girl to death because they didn't like something she said. Groups of men go around and board school buses and shoot little girls in the head because they say they want to go to school. How dare they? And we call this an ally? I understand having different cultural backgrounds. I understand having different cultural beliefs. I'm all for that. That's what makes this world an amazing, wonderful patchwork of colors and personalities and makes this world what it is. But just about every country in the world has come up and said that there is a humanitarian line. Some things are acceptable to do. Genocide is not. Shooting little girls in the head because they want to go to school is not. Gang raping tourists, dragging them off buses, that's India and Pakistan. At what point does the government come back and say, we really got to stop this stuff? This is getting out of hand. Yeah. Crimes against humanity. Crimes against humanity. We had the Nuremberg trials once to take care of a bunch of good old boys who committed crimes against humanity. Now, I guess we send them foreign aid. We build prisons and hand them over so they don't have to bear the expense of building them. We build schools for the children they deemed acceptable to go to those schools. Yeah. No, I say that's enough of that crap. If you're an ally, act like it. Act like you're on our side. Act like you're going to support us in our decisions. What?
But they don't.
No, they don't. No, they don't. And if anything, I think it's insulting. The way they behave is absolutely insulting to our allied position. Turning those 65 high-level... Remember the playing cards? Yeah, the playing cards. 65 of those guys.
Lovely.
Yeah. Turn them loose because they don't think there's any serious evidence against them.
Okay, well, let us turn back loose the people that were messed up their country before that we were helping save them from.
Unfortunately, most of those people are dead.
Yeah.
We can't just give them back.
We solved the problem.
Yeah. So our use is up. We are of no further use to them, so why bother?
Gee, it reminds me of the Philippines.
Shh. We'll be back. Okay. Yeah. It makes me wonder. It just makes me wonder. That's all I can say. Well, I'll tell you what, we're up at the top of the hour. We're going to take a break now for the news here. We'll be back for the second hour of the Raw Nerve. Right after this, hang in there with me. I'll see you then.
Making me some hillbilly pay. Working right through lunch, busting my hump, helping his daddy stay rich. So when he kept me behind to pull some overtime, I told that little son of a hey, I've been punching your clock, giving all I got, putting up with your pain in the rear. Adios, I'm done, you can find me, son, between a hottie and a nice cold beer. Hey, I've been breaking my butt, but it's never enough. Ain't a part of me that doesn't hurt. Hey, but lucky for me, you can easily see I still got a finger that works. Yeah, I've been dragging home.
I did not say it.
From NPR News in Washington, I'm Windsor Johnston. President Obama is criticizing Uganda's government, saying its plans to criminalize homosexuality is a danger to the country's gay community. NPR's Nathan Rott reports the president also warned the legislation could harm Uganda's relationship with the U.S.
Uganda's president has pledged to sign a bill that would punish the, quote, promotion or recognition of same-sex relations. That could even mean knowingly renting an apartment to an LGBT person. A first conviction could result in a multi-year prison sentence. Multiple convictions could lead to life in prison. Earlier versions of the law included the death penalty. The legislation has drawn sharp international criticism. President Obama's statement said that it would be a step backwards for Ugandans and that it would complicate the U.S.'s relationship with the country. Obama also noted that there has been a worrisome rise in violence and discrimination against the LGBT community from Russia to Nigeria. Nathan Rott, NPR News.
At least 3 South Koreans are dead after the bombing of a tour bus near a border crossing between Egypt and Israel in the Sinai Peninsula. Officials say it's the first time foreign tourists have been targeted in the southern part of the peninsula since a military insurgency began to take shape in the northern part of the region. That follows last year's overthrow of Islamist President Mohamed Morsi. At the Winter Olympics in Sochi, American men have ended their medals drought in alpine skiing events. NPR's Tamara Keith reports Bodie Miller tied for the bronze in the Super G giant slalom.
Yes, a tie, down to the 100th of a second. This bronze makes Miller, at 36, the oldest person to win an alpine medal in the Olympics. The silver medal also went to an American, Andrew Weibrecht. He's not a household name and has done quite poorly in international competition over the past 4 years because of some serious injuries.
So to come down through the finish and have a run that I knew that I could have, but I haven't been able to do in a race for a long time. It's a great feeling.
Tamara Keith, NPR News, Sochi.
Secretary of State John Kerry says climate change may be the world's most fearsome weapon of mass destruction. Speaking to students in Indonesia today, Kerry said there's still time to combat climate change if everyone works together.
I wanted to come to Jakarta to talk to you because we need people all over the world to raise their voices and to be heard. There is still time for us to significantly cut greenhouse emissions and prevent the very worst consequences of climate change from ever happening at all.
Kerry says it makes no sense for some nations to act to stem climate change while others do nothing. This is NPR News. Parts of the Northeast and New England have been hit with another round of snow. National Weather Service forecaster Bob Oravec says coastal Massachusetts got the brunt of this latest storm overnight.
Snow totals were not tremendously high, generally in the 6 to 12-inch range across eastern Massachusetts. There were some very high winds with gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour, so there were some blizzard or near blizzard conditions across Cape Cod and on Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket Islands.
Thousands of customers remain without power on Cape Cod. A well-known snake-handling preacher in Kentucky who was featured on a National Geographic reality TV show and in an NPR feature last year has died from a snake bite. NPR's John Burnett reports.
Jamie Coots pastored the Full Gospel Tabernacle in Jesus' Name in Middlesboro, Kentucky. The third-generation snake-handling Pentecostal preacher was bit on his right hand during a church service Saturday night, police said, and he died at home after refusing medical treatment. Coots told NPR last year he'd been bit 9 times in 22 years, and each time he recovered, he believed, through faith healing. He continued to handle snakes in church, he said, because it's in the book of Matthew.
I feel in my heart that because God opened it up to me, if I quit taking up serpents, I would die and go to hell. It is in the Bible, and we tell people that because in the Bible, you must believe it.
Jamie Coots was 41. John Burnett, NPR News.
The Lego Movie has earned the top spot at the box office this weekend. The animated film earned nearly $49 million in its second weekend. The romantic comedy About Last Night came in second with $27 million. This is NPR.
Hi, this is Stephen Gardner from the Kitsap Sun. There are 3 things we try to do on the Kitsap Caucus blog. Give you more about the story that didn't fit in the regular piece, give you the story behind the story. We also try to draw attention to other news you might have missed. And sometimes, I like to poke fun at Port Orchard. Read the Kitsap Caucus blog at thekitsapsun.com.
Make a difference in your community and volunteer at Kitsap Humane Society. We have opportunities for everyone and need help in all areas of the shelter. You can clean, feed, and help socialize animals, or answer phones, greet customers, and help run special events and fundraisers. KHS volunteers also lead programs including our foster program, canine training, and animal-assisted therapy. If you are interested in volunteering at Kitsap Humane Society, visit our website at kitsap-humane.org.
Brothers Power Sports has been a locally owned family business in Bremerton since 1949. From new and pre-owned motorcycles, ATVs, scooters, boats, and watercraft to parts and service and apparel. Brothers Power Sports is committed to being your source for all your motorsports needs, and they're a proud sponsor of the Habitat for Humanity of Kitsap County. Brothers Power Sports, 5205 1st Street in Bremerton, and online at brotherspowersports.com. Stop in and feel the difference at Brothers Power Sports in Bremerton.
Hey sports fans, have you ever wished there was a live and local all-sports broadcasting network, but wish no more? It's ISPNsports.com, Kitsap's only live and local all-sports 24-hour broadcasting network, featuring the Kitsap Blue Jackets, Olympic College Rangers, high school athletics, and the ISPN Sports Show every Saturday morning from 10 to noon with interviews from exclusive guests from around the Sound. So, you want sports? Go to ISPNsports.com.
For more than 100 years, the Woodland Park Zoo has been a cherished community resource and a unique urban oasis. Generations of Puget Sound families have come to the Woodland Park Zoo to marvel at the animals and be inspired by the peaceful and beautiful surroundings. Visit the Woodland Park Zoo today or make a tax-deductible donation to support the Woodland Park Zoo. Visit zoo.org and find out all the great things going on at the Woodland Park Zoo.
Video Me Productions combines technical experience with a keen eye to produce high-quality videos. Video Me Productions is experienced, passionate, and creative. Video Me puts out high-quality videos from commercials to weddings and family gatherings to concerts and live events. Call Video Me today and find out how their video services can help you. 360-620-4888 or visit their website to see video demos of their work at videomeproductions.com.
And welcome to hour number 2 of The Raw Nerve, heard only on Edge Media Source. You can give us a call, 253-617-1440. Now back to your host. Here's Susan C.
Thank you, Dennis. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome. Hope y'all having a great Sunday. It's a blustery day, as they say. Rainy, blustery day.
No, it's going to flood somewhere.
It was amazing last night. We were sitting there at home. I have one of those weather station gizmos sitting on my table, and it shows barometric pressure pattern, okay, and it goes up and down, and last night we looked over and it like came across and went phew, fell off. And that's right when the winds hit, which is what happens. Barometric pressure falls, winds rush in from other parts, from higher density to lower density, and you get high winds. We were blowing like crazy last night, which is really, it's kind of scary, because if you live in this area up around the Seattle area, we get a lot of rain. I mean, I'm sure this is a shock to most people. We get a lot of rain. Yeah, we do. We get a lot of rain, and which is really nice, and it's why we're the evergreen state, and it's beautiful and it's gorgeous. But it's also damp. The trees, when you get a lot of rain, we get mudslides and landslides. We get trees toppling. What we don't need is real strong winds coming after a lot of rain. That's basically what we're getting. So that causes problems. Trees come down, limbs come down, power lines are knocked out. It makes for some interesting problems, I'll tell you. So last night we had breezy winds. Tonight we're supposed to have breezy winds. We can top out to like 65-mile-an-hour gusts tonight.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Folks are going to lose electricity.
Oh, I don't doubt it. We did last night. We didn't, but people did last night. I know I laid in bed last night. I was listening to the wind, and it was just like it was like a pack of wolves outside howling.
Yeah, I would look out every now and then. And I didn't realize it was blowing that hard outside. But then I noticed our lights kind of flickering here and there. And it went from flicker to... Let me look out, and I look out there, and one of our neighbors right across the street has one of those lovely car windows that doesn't roll up.
Mm-hmm.
So he had, all of his plastic and a sheet and a bunch of other stuff covering the window, trying to keep the rain out of his car. All that stuff was blowing off, hanging off the car, and window totally exposed. I'm like, holy crap, yeah, it's...
Yeah, I have, across the street from me, my front window, when I look out, there's some really, really, really tall trees. And it can be calm down here, like I have a little tree outside my front window, and it can be sitting there just fine. But if I look up and look at the tops of these tall trees, and they're doing the hoochie coochie dance up there, like that.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, it's a little breezy up there. Yeah. So brace yourselves, we're supposed to be like that tonight as well. Rainy, windy, a blustery day in the 100-acre woods. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, this has been a weird winter so far. It really has been. We have had, here in the Seattle area, we've had an unseasonably mild winter. We had that little bit of snow last Sunday.
Right.
A little bit. Not a lot. Enough.
Enough to close down some stuff.
Enough to close down some stuff, but nothing like the rest of the country is seeing.
No. we just had a little visit.
Yeah, we haven't even had the rains like we normally have in the winters up here. It's been remarkably warm and dry and actually pretty nice for winter, for being winter.
Yeah, it's been pretty cold. But when it has been cold, it's been cold.
Yeah, when it gets cold, it drops really cold. Like, single digits. There are a few nights there was single digits. But places like Atlanta and Florida and places in Georgia that have never seen weather like this are being absolutely paralyzed. Georgia got a little snow, and they absolutely they declared it a state of emergency because they weren't prepared. They didn't know what to do.
Well, yeah, and down in Atlanta, they had that whole mess up, and people missed schools, and the freeway was just all jacked up because, well, the trucks were in the wrong place.
Yeah, well, nobody knows how to deal with this, That one mayor that kept the schools open, and then the kids were stranded. They couldn't get them home.
Yep.
Basically. And I'm like, well, that was an idiotic thing to do. You don't open the schools unless you absolutely know you can get them there and get them back. You don't get to take the kids and keep them. It doesn't work that way. That's Little House on the Prairie days. Remember that episode where the girls got lost in the blizzard? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ended up in the school. Yeah. But I'm telling you, it's just been a really weird kind of winter around here. And I did some looking up to see what the rest of the country, because it's been weird the rest of the country too. I'm telling you, it's bizarre. And apparently, according to the Associated Press, cold and snow keep battering the Midwest and the East. They have been pounded this winter. The poor Northeast, I feel so bad for those people. Along with around the Great Lakes, they've just had it rough. Even Atlanta was temporarily paralyzed. California's been bone dry, and Alaska set heat records. Go figure. What an extremes. The wild winter somehow became even more wicked Thursday morning when the national average temperature plunged to a brutal 11 degrees. 11 degrees. That's bird chilly.
That's even worse than chilly. That's just flipping cold.
That's flipping cold, yes. That is the lowest temperature of a season of extremes, I'll tell you that. A weather-weary nation asks a simple question. Why? Fair question. The answer is a jet stream. Now, the jet stream is a river air that dictates our weather. Normally, the jet stream stays in Canada or the northern U.S., going west to east in a somewhat straight line. We see that on the news, the weather, when they show that on the news, and they show the line going across, and that's the jet stream. And then for the polar vortex, when that hit, you saw it dip way down. Yeah, in the Midwest, in the east. Now, this winter, it's plunged south, creating high-pressure ridges and low-pressure troughs and taking cold polar air south and east and leaving warm, dry weather to the west. We're having an unusual jet stream, and that's what's giving us crazy cold weather in the east, and the ridiculously resilient ridge, as it's called in California. Question: why is a jet stream doing this? Answer: there are 3 different forces probably at work here, but the scientists still need to do more research. This is according to Derek Arndt of the National Climatic Data Center of Asheville, North Carolina. One is just a random natural variability of daily weather. Another is a mid-length weather feature, there we go, called the Pacific Decadal Oscillation. Think of it as a cousin of El Nino that warms the northern Pacific and helps push the jet stream south. And finally, a new and controversial theory is that a warmer Arctic region and shrinking summer sea ice from man-made global warming has shifted the jet stream patterns, making it wavier and bringing more unpredictable weather. Question: is it unusual for the weather pattern to last this long? Answer: it doesn't happen often, but it's not unusual either. This is according to Bruce Terry, the National Weather Service's Weather Prediction Center in North College Park, Maryland. Now Thursday, they say, how cold was it? Answer: the national average of 11 degrees is the coldest of the winter and will likely be the coldest of the season. This is according to calculations by the Weather Bell Analytics meteorologist Ryan Mao. It was computed from temperatures at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the lower 48 states. So they took temperature readings at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time all across the country at that same time and averaged it out to be 11 degrees across country. The lowest was minus 34 in Minnesota, minus 34 degrees in Montana, and several areas were minus 20 according to the National Weather Service. Question: has this been a record winter? Answer: no. Given the unusual heat in the west and the cold in the east, they almost balance each other out. Which, if you think about it, that's kind of a weird truth. According to Masters and Arndt, they said that when the final month statistics come out, January in the U.S. won't be near record cold. When you compare it to the 20th century, it was still cold, but not dramatically cold. Question: was this a U.S. thing? Answer: no. Parts of South America and Australia have had much warmer than normal weather. Parts of Europe has been cold and stormy, others record warm. For much of January, Greenland was 8 degrees warmer than normal. Greenland, where it's almost all ice. Question: when will it end? Answer: soon enough. In Northern California, heavy rains are coming. Thank goodness heavy rains are coming. A predicted eastern winter snowstorm this weekend is looking less mighty than it did a few days ago. It's not soon enough for the meteorologists to predict it. According to Weather Service's Terry, they said, I'm sick of it. We all are. This has been the strangest weather. And you know, everyone poo-poos the whole global warming thing. Every time it's really, really cold and places are snowed in, everyone's like, so much for global warming. But you know, I'll tell you something. I've read reports and studies that they've done about global warming. And there have been warnings in the past that global warming can trigger, get this, ice age. There are a lot of scientists who believe that the last ice age we had, and they are periodic, the last one we had was triggered by global warming. Wow. What was that in Montana? 34 degrees, minus 34 degrees in Montana? Yeah. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? And the amazing thing is the Great Lakes. I'll tell you, from the bridge of the Coast Guard cutter Mackinac, northern Lake Huron looks like vast snow-covered field, clouded with ice slabs as big as boulders. It's a battleground for the Icebreakers' 58-member crew during one of the roughest winters in memory. It's been so bitterly cold for so long in the upper Midwest that the Great Lakes are almost completely covered with ice. Now, this doesn't normally happen. The Great Lakes are, as the name implies, pretty doggone big. They're great. They're big and they're deep. So for them to be covered with ice is pretty unusual. Around the edges, yeah, but across the middle, it's pretty unusual. Excuse me. The last time they came this close to being frozen over was in 1994, when 94% of the lake's surface was frozen. 94% of the surface. Wow. As of last Friday, ice cover extended across 88%, according to the federal government's Great Lakes Environmental Research Laboratory in Ann Arbor. Sections of the lake, which hold nearly 1/5 of the fresh water on the world's surface, the entire world's surface, 1/5 of the fresh water is held in our Great Lakes. Yeah. They harden almost every winter. That freezing helps keep the Coast Guard's fleet of 9 icebreakers busy clearing paths for vessels, hauling essential cargo such as heating oil, salt, and coal. But over the past 4 decades, the average ice cover has receded 70%, probably in part to climate change. Still, as this season shows, short-term weather patterns can trump multi-year trends. Winter arrived early and with a vengeance and refuses to loosen its grip. That Arctic vortex came down, and with the ice, just kept going. The deep freeze is more than a novelty. By limiting evaporation, it may help replenish lake water levels, a process that began last year after a record-breaking slump dating to the 1990s. Also getting relief are cities along the lakes that have been pummeled with lake-effect snow, which happens when cold air masses suck up moisture from open waters and dump it over the land. Buffalo, New York got nearly 43 inches of snow in January. Allow that to sink in for a moment.
That's a lot of sidewalk to shovel.
43 inches of snow in a month in a big city. On a ski slope, that's great news. In a big city like Buffalo, not so good. This month, though, only 13 inches have fallen. So it's backing off here. A decline resulting largely from the freeze over of Lake Erie, even though Lake Ontario has remained largely open. Heavy ice can also protect fish eggs from predators and has delighted photographers, ice anglers, and daredevil snowmobilers. At Apostle Island's National Lakeshore in Wisconsin, the rock-solid cover has allowed around 35,000 visitors to trudge miles over Lake Superior to explore caves featuring dazzling ice formations. It's the first time in 5 years the lake surface has been firm enough to allow people to walk across it. With no let-up in the cold, the ice hasn't experienced the usual thaw and freeze cycle, so nature's artistry is even more delicate and beautiful, with the needle-like hoarfrost crystals sprinkled across sheets that dangle from cave ceilings like giant chandeliers. I, for one, would take that hike. I would go see that. I would love to go see that. Seeing them like this is almost a once-in-a-lifetime experience. There's even an opportunity, an apparently tongue-in-cheek Facebook page, inviting people to join a convoy of snowmobiles, cars, and other vehicles on a nearly 80-mile trek across Lake Michigan. Never mind that its waters remain partly open, and experts warn that ice can be dangerously unstable. If it freezes and you miss this chance, when will it happen again? The page says. Feel free to invite more folks. So some people are having fun with it, which is, that's great. But I got to tell you, this is really, really unusual weather. That's the whole reason that the cities around the Great Lakes, Chicago, it's a biggie, Buffalo, Albany, places like that, get so much snow in the wintertime because of that lake effect.
I lived in Chicago for a little bit.
That's cool.
The snow didn't bother me that much because, they're Illinois. It's a state that's prepared for the stuff that comes. And it wasn't like Alaska that once it snowed, it stayed white until spring. It went away after a while.
It is nice when it does go away, isn't it?
And, out in Chicago, though, the wind, and especially when it comes in off the lake, because the lake right there, it's so big, you don't expect it, but that's a lake that has a tide.
Wow, that's a big lake.
And the wind that comes across it, and the wind in Chicago is smart. You look outside, you don't see no wind. Nothing's blowing. It waits for you to go out into it and around a corner, and then it smacks you.
They don't have a lot of stuff that moves.
It gets you.
Yeah. Chicago can be but they have the best baked potatoes on the face of the planet, so I guess it's a trade-off.
Baked potatoes?
Yeah, Chicago. Chicago has the best baked potato on the face of the planet.
I've known Chicago for... They're known for their hot dogs, deep dish pizza.
Nope.
Never heard of baked potato.
Baked potato. Yes, indeed.
I don't know. Maybe Idaho would be good for that.
No.
They just grow them, can't cook them.
Well, what's really amazing to me is, you remember John Kerry?
John Kerry, yes.
John Kerry, U.S. Secretary of State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's an interesting man. He really is. He was in Jakarta, Indonesia for a summit that they were having, and he had some interesting comments to make. This man cracks me up sometimes. He really does. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry on Sunday called climate change perhaps the world's most fearsome, destructive weapon and mocked those who deny its existence or question its causes, comparing them to people who insist the earth is flat. Okay. In a speech to Indonesian students, civic leaders, and government officials, Kerry tore into climate change skeptics. He accused them of using shoddy science and scientists to delay steps needed to reduce emissions and greenhouse gases at the risk of imperiling the planet. Now, if you think about it, governments and countries that don't have the economic wherewithal to withstand a lot of hits, shall we say, for them to do what needs to be done to limit emissions and greenhouse gases and whatnot, it's a pricey, painful situation for them. But basically, John Kerry is saying, I don't care, it's got to be done. We're all going to pay the price. We are all going to pay the price. Now, a day earlier, the U.S. and China announced an agreement to cooperate more closely on combating climate change. American officials hope that that will encourage others, including developing countries like Indonesia and India, to follow suit. China and the U.S. are the biggest sources of emissions of carbon dioxide and other gases that cause the atmosphere to trap solar heat and alter the climate. Scientists say such changes are leading to drought, wildfires, rising sea levels, melting polar ice, plant and animal extinctions, and other extreme conditions. Also in the Jakarta speech, Kerry said that everyone in every country must take responsibility for the problem and act immediately. You can't wait forever to start doing something about this. He said, we simply don't have time to let a few loud interest groups hijack the climate conversation. He said, referring to what he called the big companies that don't want to change and spend a lot of money to act to reduce the risks. Kerry later singled out major oil and coal concerns as primary offenders. We should not allow a tiny minority of shoddy scientists and a science of extreme ideologies to compete with scientific fact. Nor should we allow any room for those who think that the costs associated with doing the right thing outweigh the benefits. The man does speak truth. He speaks sense. He said the cost of inaction will far outweigh the significant expense of reducing greenhouse gas emissions that trap solar heat in the atmosphere and contribute to the Earth's rising temperatures. So I think it's pretty hopeful. If the U.S. and China can agree, actually get together and agree to a joint plan to reduce greenhouse emissions, if those two could agree, maybe there's hope for the rest of the world.
Maybe.
I'm hoping. I'm really, really, really hoping. But I'll tell you, we've got to get away from our dependency on oil, fossil oil. We've got to get away from our dependency on coal. Because I don't care what you hear, I don't care what the trendy topics are, there's really no such thing as clean coal. You cannot burn coal without leaving residue and making gases because of the way coal is developed, or the way it grows, it's prepared. They mine it out of the earth. It's old plant and animal matter that has just carbonized and turned to coal. And all that has gases in it. And when you burn it, it's released. You can't get around it. You really can't. Kind of scary, but you can't. Something else is kind of scary to me. This cracked me up. Absolutely cracked me up. According to UPI, 26% of U.S. respondents to a poll do not realize the Earth revolves around the sun. Okay? 26% of the people polled did not know that the Earth revolves around the sun. They think it revolves around them, undoubtedly, or something. The sun revolves around them. This is, according to a survey by the National Science Foundation, the NSF conducts the poll on some basic science facts every 2 years. Now, this was published in the Atlantic Monthly magazine. The foundation said that there have been little change in the percentages of correct answers since 1992. Generally, U.S. residents showed a knowledge of science comparable to those of other countries with high levels of education, including Japan and Eastern Europe, Southern Korea, and according to the NSF. In fact, they did better than EU residents on the question of whether Earth moves around the sun. The most recent survey of more than 2,200 people was conducted in 2012 and just released. On two controversial questions, whether the universe began with a large explosion and whether humans are descended from other species, fewer than half in the United States said that those were true. Fewer than half believe in the Big Bang Theory or that we are descended from other species. Now, the Atlantic said that those percentages go up by a significant amount when the questions are rephrased to ask if the Big Bang Theory and evolution are scientifically accepted. So if you phrase it in the popular terminology, people, oh, I get that, yeah. If you just rephrase it in the more scientific, they don't get it. 26% of people don't know the Earth revolves around the sun. Galileo proved this a long time ago. And you know what else I found kind of alarming?
Yes.
There's a growing fact in this country. More and more people, we're talking college-educated people, are thinking that astrology is a scientific fact. Like astronomy. We're talking astrology. The house.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of a scary thought to me. Go take a quick break here. We'll be back after the bottom of the hour. I'll see you in a few.
Hey sports fans, have you ever wished there was a live and local all-sports broadcasting network, but wish no more? It's ISPNSports.com, Kitsap's only live and local all-sports 24-hour broadcasting network, featuring the Kitsap Blue Jackets, Olympic College Rangers, high school athletics, and the ISPN Sports Show every Saturday morning from 10 to noon with interviews from exclusive guests from around the Sound. So, you want sports? Go to ISPNSports.com.
Judy's Sewing in East Bremerton is your one-stop shop for all your sewing, alteration, and clothing repair need. At Judy's Sewing, you can also find tuxedo rentals and bridal party dresses for only $69 and bride's dresses starting at $189. Judy's Sewing at the corner of Fairgrounds Road and Central Valley in East Bremerton, near Handy Andy's, or call Judy at 360-662-1212. That's right, 360-662-1212 for Judy's Sewing.
For more than 100 years, the Woodland Park Zoo has been a cherished community resource and a unique urban oasis. Generations of Puget Sound families have come to the Woodland Park Zoo to marvel at the animals and be inspired by the peaceful and beautiful surroundings. Visit the Woodland Park Zoo today or make a tax-deductible donation to support the Woodland Park Zoo. Visit zoo.org and find out all the great things going on at the Woodland Park Zoo.
Video Me Productions combines technical experience with a keen eye to produce high-quality videos. Video Me Productions is experienced, passionate, and creative. Video Me puts out high-quality videos from commercials to weddings and family gatherings to concerts and live events. Call Video Me today and find out how their video services can help you. 360-620-4888 or visit their website to see video demos of their work at videomeproductions.com.
Markets is a new company based right here in Kitsap County, committed to providing your business with the total marketing and printing solutions. From awards and plaques to calendars and planners and everything in between, Markets can handle your promotional needs. Plus, since Markets is a small company, they can offer lower prices and quality customer service. If you need to get your business name out there, you need to call Markets. 360-633-7931 or visit them online at mark-itz.com.
Did you know volunteering with the Bremerton Central Lions Club can be fun? Community service is for everyone. Young people, families, men, women. As a volunteer, you'll help your community and gain valuable skills, network with others, energize your life, make an impact, and have fun. Get in step with your community and volunteer. Visit us at bremertoncentralwa.lion.wap.org.
And we are into the final stretch here on the Raw Nerve on Edge Media Source. Don't forget, you can check us out on Twitter, I think it is. Susan's the only one that gets it. I don't get it. I'm lost. But that's all right. We're going to return back to our show. I'm just having a rough time. This is terrible. Too much going on at once. Here's your host laughing at me. Go ahead, lady. Laugh. Laugh it up. You can talk.
Har.
Yeah. I switched the video over just in time so for people to see you laugh. And
I love it. I'm usually the one everyone's laughing at, okay? It's your turn. You can enjoy this one.
I always have to take the brunt of it.
We don't. I'm not one to make fun of someone else's beliefs, unless it involves shooting little girls in the head because they want to go to school. Then I'll make fun of it, yeah. I'm also not one to make fun of somebody else's religion because we're all different, you know. But I got to tell you, some make me wonder. We've had a lot of celebrities die here lately. A lot of celebrities.
That's what happens as they get older.
I know. Did you know Saturday night Jamie Coots died?
No.
Jamie Coots. Do you know who Jamie Coots is?
I do, but it's not. The picture isn't turning on my head.
Oh.
Someone forgot that.
The connection's not being made?
Yeah.
Well, for those of you who don't make the connection here, Jamie Coots was a star of National Geographic's canceled reality show Snake Salvation. Now, I never really watched the show. I remember the show being on, and I remember seeing the teasers for it, the ads and commercials and things, and thinking, okay, that's just stupid. Now, the whole premise of this show, this reality show, was National Geographic profiled Pentecostal pastors. The Pentecostal religion believes in the handling of snakes, poisonous snakes. That
real quick, some sects.
Some sects.
S-E-C-T-S.
Yes, some sects.
Of the Pentecostal religion.
Yes.
See, I was paying attention that day in sociology class. That was it.
Good for you. I'm proud of you. But, I don't want to paint everybody with a broad brush. But there are some, really orthodox sects, as he says, who believe in not only handling of poisonous snakes without any protection whatsoever, just pick them up and play with them.
Yeah, because they believe that, or what they tell...
What they're told
is, if I'm a righteous person, these snakes cannot harm me.
Right. The snakes cannot harm you.
Yeah, and the one
you believe.
And when I saw that on this film in my sociology class, yeah, dude got bit.
Well, they also believe that you can drink poison.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking strychnine poison that they'll have in a jar. And I mean, it's not straight strychnine. It's cut and they sip and yeah. So this is kind of, to my way of thinking, and it's just me, a little extreme. But Jamie Coots died Saturday after refusing treatment. He was a star in National Geographic's canceled reality show Snake Salvation, which profiled Pentecostal snake handling pastors. He died Saturday night after being bitten by a snake in his church in Middlesboro, Kentucky.
You can't feel sad for stupidity.
It's hard. It really, really is hard. I understand the man thought he would be protected and safe because that's what he was taught. But come on.
Okay, something I have to say. There's something that, religion like that should have learned by now. The good Lord gave us the means to not have to do that.
Yeah, and the Lord helps those who help themselves. with things like antivenom.
I need to be healed. Well, the good Lord gave us a doctor.
That's right, and made the doctor smart enough to figure out how to make us better.
Mm-hmm. Even though it's not professional, they only practice.
That's right. And according to Middlesboro Police Chief Jeff Sharp, he said that Coots was found dead in his home about 10 p.m. Saturday after a snake bit him while he was handling the animal in his church. The Full Gospel Tabernacle in Jesus' Name. That's the name of his church. According to WBIR.
Yeah, okay.
Officials urged Coots to get medical care, but he refused. About an hour later, he succumbed to his injuries. Snake Salvation largely followed Coots and his mentee, Andrew Hamblin, while they hunted for snakes, although church services and interviews with snake handlers were also shown. The show also showed the duo trafficking snakes across state lines. Now, last year, Coots pleaded guilty to violating Tennessee's exotic animals law and surrendered his snakes as part of a plea deal. So these weren't his snakes, these were the church's snakes. I guess they have their own personal pet snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry the man is dead. I really am. I think it's sad whenever somebody dies of other than natural causes. But come on.
That's...
Come
I said there's, no sympathy for stupidity. That's...
Not a lot. I have sympathy, but it's hard to come by. It's hard to come by. That's just stupid. I'm sorry. Now, this struck me as interesting. It's a sign of the times. In case you are unaware, there's a trend going on right now of things like exotic dancers suing the owner of the club that they dance at for not paying a reasonable wage. Porn stars have sued the companies making the porno movies because they didn't get paid a reasonable wage. Now, you hear all this talk about everybody's pushing for the $15 minimum wage, for McDonald's and whatnot like this.
Mm-hmm.
These people really, really get the short end of the stick. No pun intended. Okay? But I thought this was kind of interesting. Alexia Brenneman. Now, this has nothing to do with porno or anything like this. But Alexa Brenneman of Hamilton County, Ohio, accuses the Bengals, NFL football team, the Bengals, of underpaying the Bengals cheerleaders, violating the Fair Labor Standards Act and state law, which requires a minimum wage of $7.85 an hour. In her lawsuit filed on Tuesday with the U.S. District Court in the Southern District of Ohio, Brenneman worked more than 300 hours and appeared at 10 home games during the 2013 season. There we go. And was paid $855 or $2.85 a game. An hour. $2.85 an hour. Now, last month, former and current cheerleaders for the Oakland Raiders filed a lawsuit claiming similar violations of wage laws. The Raiders have not responded to ABC News' request for comment. A spokesman for the Bengals provided a statement to ABC News saying that the Bengals cheerleading program has long been a program run by former cheerleaders and has enjoyed broad support in the community and by members of the squad. Yesterday's lawsuit appears to be a copycat lawsuit that mimics the one filed last month in California against different NFL club. The Bengals will address the litigation in due course. Now, NFL spokesman Bryn McCarthy declined to comment about both lawsuits, saying the league is not involved with team cheerleaders. Brenneman attached her lawsuit a 6-page exhibit that shows the Cincinnati Bengal rules, which her attorneys say show the degree of control the team has over the cheerleaders as employees. It also shows the consequences, including if, by God, you eat a pizza and crash the scales at a whopping 110 pounds versus 100 pounds, then you're benched. This is according to her attorney, Jeffrey Goldenberg. Now, Goldenberg said the intent of attaching the rules was not to focus on sensational and sexual factors. It's about them earning about $2.85 an hour. And that's not right, he said, adding that the other NFL cheerleaders are paid hourly and sometimes overtime by teams such as the Seattle Seahawks. Go Hawks! They treat their people right. I was proud to see that. I really was. Now, these are the rules that the Bengals have to abide by. Scale rate is recorded twice a week. twice a week. The rule states that the data collected is to determine ideal weight. You're given a 3-pound leniency weight. Example, if your goal weight is 114, you are allowed to weigh in at 117 without being considered over, according to the rules. Apparently, and I'll bet you dollars to donuts, that's a PMS rule. For when you're bloated. Now, if you are over your 3-pound leniency weight, you will be required to stay 30 minutes after practice for extra conditioning. Additionally, at management's discretion, you can and will be pulled from your position and possibly not considered for charity and or paid events. So you're punished, okay, if you don't meet their standards. Glamour evaluation. Ideal weight and recommendations for physique improvements will be provided in Glamour evaluation, according to the lawsuit exhibit states. Achieving these expectations is required. Failure to comply with evaluation may result in missed games and or performance events. So in other words, their people look at you and say, this is what you need to do to be as glamorous as possible. And you have to do it. Period. Or you miss out. According to the lawsuit, big gals are required to attend at least 6 to 8 mandatory weekly practices from late May through December and are required to appear at no fewer than 10 charity functions a season. But Brenneman's lawsuit alleges that charity is loosely defined to include not only traditional charities, but also promotional appearances serving no charitable purpose whatsoever to promote the team. No to panties. This is a rule. No panties are to be worn under practice clothes or uniforms, not even thong panties. They can dictate the underwear you wear or tell you can't wear any.
Well, though, you'd think, though, didn't she know about any of this when she auditioned?
I don't know.
Or, signed up? Because, a cheerleader for the NFL, that is not a career by any means. All these people have secondary jobs. A lot of the teams having a cheerleading squad is relatively new.
Okay, you have to understand. I have real heartburn going on right now with the fact that the NFL is considered a non-profit organization.
Right.
These clubs, these NFL teams, you name it, all of them, are making money hand over fist.
Oh.
Okay?
Yes.
Who doesn't know about the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders? The Seagals, the Bengals. Every major football team has to have a cheerleader squad. They have to be the bustiest, narrow-waistedest, the cutest, sexiest, high-kickingest, scantiest, claddest, the most squad in NFL football. This seems to be the requirements out there. Okay, if you're going to say we have to have a squad, my argument is, fine, pay them like the state says you have to.
Yeah.
Pay them their minimum wage, $2.85.
I think that they should have an organization that represents, all the dance squads from all the teams, because teams, like Dallas for say, they have not only their cheerleaders, but half of the cheerleaders make up a dance squad that tours around and does appearances and whatnot. But it was always, it used to be, the cheerleaders, they get paid a whopping $50 a game. That's it, and they still have to do the rehearsals. They go through all that,
right?
And you could also go to look at Showgirls in Vegas or the Rockettes.
Right.
Come on, if you happen to have a growth spurt, you lose your job. And there's a whole lot of gray area there.
Yeah.
But they are getting paid, what they should be.
Oh, yes, they're getting paid a lot.
Yeah, I think that these ladies, they deserve it.
Minimum wage is not asking the moon.
Too much, no.
It's not asking the moon. But $2.85 an hour, that doesn't even cover their gas to get to and from these functions.
The teams need to come up off of some of that money. And
that's right. And my heartburn, like I said, is the fact that they are, for some bizarre asked reason, they're considered non-profit organization. Are you out of your minds? Are you out of your minds? No, so they can dictate that you can't wear panties, okay? But you can wear pantyhose, okay? But they must match your skin tone, legs, the brand LEGGS legs. No Danskins type tights. No control top at practices or games. No exposed skin at ankles. Pantyhose must extend down into socks. Wasn't that what pantyhose are? They're like, they go down to your toes. I don't know what they're looking at, I'm telling you. Another rule, no slouching breasts. I hate when my breast slouches. Isn't that just an awful thing? I know. It's just a bad day all the way around, I'm telling you. The rule states in the lawsuit exhibit that support as needed. Black or nude seamless bra is mandatory for the game, no lace. So you can't go braless. Stay away from frosted lipsticks and eyeshadows. Management will determine your proper color analysis, and you will wear makeup to match. And no curlers. Hair must be neat and out of face on every occasion. Glamour is a priority, the rule states. Now, the only reason, like I say, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because no one represents these girls. And yes, it's an honor to be a Seagal. It's an honor to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. It's an honor to be a Bengal. A lot of these gals use these as stepping stones to other things.
Right.
Modeling, dance, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the least you can do, the very least, it's not like the teams don't receive a benefit from having them. They absolutely do. So the least they can do is pay these gals minimum wage to do what it is that they do. If you're going to tell me I can't wear panties, you're going to pay me. You're going to cover my butt with money if I can't cover it with satin.
Oh, I dropped the ball real quick. Not to change the subject of you and your panties.
My panties are in a knot.
We did have a posting in the chat room back when you were talking about Afghanistan, and one Mr. Chambers has stated that I think we should just nuke them.
Really?
Just blow them up.
We can't. They're our allies. Allies.
Yeah, well, if they don't act, And
they're not.
If someone on your team doesn't play like they're supposed to.
We need cheerleaders. We need Team USA cheerleaders. And they can have Afghan cheerleaders, in the burqas.
I thought that's what the vice president was.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. Joe Biden and John Kerry. What a mental image I've got right now. Afghans cheerleaders can be in the burqas, with the little eye slits and the whole yards. And they can be out there duking it out for what constitutes an ally. Okay, you guys ticked us off because you let all these terrorists go that blew up our people. So we're mad at you. So here's our cheerleader squad going to come in and beat you up, your burqa gals.
Yeah, that could work. I'd watch.
I love it. Forget the nukes. Forget the drones, all this stuff. All we need are cheerleaders. There's one now. You'd be a great cheerleader. I don't know. I looked on his idiotically. I looked on his Facebook yesterday.
K-Dogs.
I saw pictures of a man in a bikini on his face. Why do you got pictures of a man in a bikini
on your Facebook page?
It's frightening, isn't it?
Sure, he's going to answer that question.
Less frightening, though, is the fact that it wasn't K-Dog.
So here's the deal. A very good buddy of mine is a Saints fan. And back when the Saints and the Hawks played on Monday Night Football, we put a bet. The loser had to go out to a night of karaoke in nothing but a bikini. And his team got smashed, and he had to wear the bikini, and last night was payoff night. Now, had we lost, it would have been me in the bikini.
Oh, what a frightening thought. Yeah. You and a muumuu was bad enough.
Me and a muumuu was pretty darn hot.
No, there was nothing hot about you and a muumuu.
Very hot.
No.
I look great in a muumuu, man. I got legs for it.
Yeah. No, you don't. Trust me, honey. Trust me. Well, I don't know. My mom wore a lot of muumuus. He kind of reminded me of my mom, kind of built the same way.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do it, Joy? Yeah? Talk about that later.
I love it. Did you see where they found a mammoth tooth in Seattle?
A mammoth tooth?
Tusk.
Oh, a tusk?
A tusk. No. They did. They found a mammoth tusk. It was a fossilized mammoth tusk found in a Seattle construction site. They got it out Friday from a 30-foot deep pit to the sound of cheers and clicking from people taking pictures. I think that's amazing.
That's cool. There's more,
Well, scientists think it's a Colombian mammoth, from a Colombian mammoth.
We had dinosaurs, and, it wasn't just the supersonics.
Yeah, really. But I mean, I understand that the millions of years it's been underground is a long time, and it might have been washed down in a river or something like that. But wouldn't you think if you found a mammoth tusk in a hole that there might be more of the mammoth around there?
Somewhere close. Well, unless the mammoth, didn't die there.
Yeah, but
maybe something happened. Maybe it got to a fight.
It's likely enough.
Maybe another mammoth just snatched it out.
Snatched his tusk out. Yeah, I'm just saying. I think it would make me wonder enough that I would dig a little more to see if I could find more of the mammoth.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm waiting for? Did you ever see that show where it's on the Discovery Channel? They found a frozen baby mammoth.
No, and it wasn't a mockumentary?
No, it wasn't a mockumentary. It was a real one. But they found a frozen baby mammoth in the permafrost.
Mm-hmm.
It was so well preserved, it still had its hair. They found plant material in its stomach and its mouth. So it had to have frozen very quickly somehow.
Yeah.
Of course, as a mammoth baby, it's smaller than, surface area is smaller than like a big adult.
Mm-hmm.
But
still was able to just freeze and...
Right. But I watched the show where they cut it out and they took it and they were slowly thawing it out. They're going to try, and remember, just because a thing can be done doesn't necessarily mean it should be done. They're going to try to clone that baby mammoth. It is so well preserved, they think they might find some DNA.
That would be interesting. But it'll get you to that point of, do you draw a line there with science? Do we fool with Mother Nature?
It kind of makes me wonder because they're not only creatures have died out over the millennia, but viruses have died out by evolutionary. You lost the crapshoot that's evolution. You were selected for extinction. Viruses and bacteria that didn't make it. They didn't mutate to keep up. They went the wayside. What if these things come back, or they're brought? They're exposed to modern day when nobody has any immunities to them.
Yeah.
It could be a real can of worms.
It could be ugly.
It could be very ugly. If they do this, it's going to have to be
very controlled.
The mother will have to be an elephant, regular elephant,
mm-hmm.
and then they'll have to clone one of her eggs with this mammoth DNA.
And hope.
I wonder how big it would be. I love stuff like this. I love science. I love when they find things like this and the possibilities of what can be done. Not necessarily what should be done. Okay, we'll make that distinction. But what can be done. And apparently the ethics board or whatever is involved with the universities they're attached to seem to think it was okay because they were actually thawing it out to look for DNA. I haven't heard anything since, though, but I'll keep you informed.
I mean, yeah, because it definitely has to make you curious as to,
Well, when I find more...
If all these, reproductions that they have right now at science's guess at what these creatures really look like, what if they were wrong?
Well, they're saying now, because of some of the really good fossils that they found lately, that their whole idea that dinosaurs were gray and green and slow and lethargic and all that was wrong. They're thinking now they were brightly colored. They're thinking now that they were rapid. They're not like lizards today. They may have been lizard-like, reptilian, but they're not like lizards today. And they think they actually were pretty spry, agile, movable things. So I don't know. When I hear more, I will keep you all informed. I'll keep you up to date on what I find out because I love this stuff. We're going to take a cut for the end of the day for me.
A cut for the end of the day.
Cut for the end of the day. Stay tuned for stop. The Outlaw Radio Network with K-Dog and St. Paul. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
News in Washington, I'm Windsor Johnston. A new review of court records shows more immigrants are successfully fighting their deportation orders. As NPR's Jennifer Ludden reports, the number has been on the rise since President Obama took office.
Nearly half of immigrants up for deportation won their cases last year. That's according to a new analysis by the Transactional Records Clearinghouse, or TRAC, at Syracuse University. The review does not say how many cases were later overturned on appeal. The rise began in 2009, and there's been no change in immigration law since then. But the Obama administration has called for discretion. It's directed authorities to focus enforcement efforts on immigrants who pose a threat to national security or public safety. Mr. Obama has repeatedly called for a sweeping overhaul that would legalize millions of immigrants, but Republicans have blocked such proposals in Congress. Jennifer Ludden, NPR News, Washington.
A report from Reuters says the European Union has decided to postpone negotiations with Switzerland on its participation in multi-billion-dollar research and educational programs. The move follows a referendum in Switzerland last week that calls for a temporary limit on immigration from 8 Eastern European countries and cancels a planned labor pact with Croatia. The fundraising platform, a Kickstarter, says that hackers breached its cybersecurity and access on computers last week. NPR's Nathan Rott reports the company says no credit card information was stolen.
In a blog post, Kickstarter CEO Yancey Strickler said that they were alerted that hackers had sought and gained unauthorized access to some of the platform's customers last Wednesday. The accessed information included usernames, email addresses, phone numbers, and encrypted passwords. The company says no credit card data was accessed. 5.9 million people have pledged money for the site.
Hello.
It suggests that users changed their passwords. Kickstarter says that the breach has been closed and that it has beefed up its security measures. It is working with law enforcement officials to figure out just who the hackers were and how they accessed the information. Nathan Rott, NPR News.
2 skiers who went missing after an avalanche southwest of Denver yesterday have been found dead. Susan Matthews of the Lake County Office of Emergency Management says it was difficult for search and rescue teams to reach the missing skiers.
They had beacons on, which really helped a lot. The terrain there is extremely steep. There was a safety team out this morning who made the determination whether or not the ground crew could even get up safely to retrieve the 2 persons that were missing.
Officials say 3 other skiers are hospitalized with injuries. This is NPR News. An aftershock from the earthquake that shook a large part of South Carolina and Georgia on Friday has been reported. The U.S. Geological Survey reported a 3.2 magnitude trembler this afternoon in Edgefield County, just a few miles from the original 4.1 quake. There was no major damage to the state's infrastructure. At the Winter Olympics in Sochi, ice dancing duo Merrill Davis and Charlie White are leading after the short program. NPR's Tamara Keith reports their closest competitors are 2.5 points behind.
Davis and White have been skating together for 17 years, and as White said at a post-performance press conference, having each other helped with the Olympic jitters.
We were really in the moment, enjoying it. I don't think either of us was really thinking about pushing, really, but rather enjoying it and enjoying each other's company out there. So it was really special for us.
White and Davis won silver at the Olympics in Vancouver 4 years ago. The ice dancers who got gold that year, Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer from Canada, are in second place here in Sochi after the short program. These 2 teams actually train with the same coach. And although their rivalry is strong, they say no one understands what they're going through better. Tamara Keith, NPR News, Sochi.
Workers in Los Angeles have broken the world record for the longest continuous concrete pour after 18.5 hours. They are laying the foundation for the tallest building west of Mississippi. Guinness World Records officials say workers poured 21,200 cubic yards of concrete, beating the existing record of 21,000. This is NPR News.
Judy's Sewing in East Bremerton is your one-stop shop for all your sewing, alteration, and clothing repair needs. At Judy's Sewing, you can also find tuxedo rentals and bridal party dresses for only $69 and bride's dresses